Hello, hello, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that sounds good. And let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to Calio 60 Model Kit Mondays. Last time we were building the Gundam Plutone. We're continuing today, since it was not finished. Here is mostly completed Plutone. You may notice things are in different hands and whatnot, but that is life. But you may notice there's a shoebox on my desk. And I probably should have done this earlier, but I didn't. This is actually the painting box. This is what I tend to use when I'm painting. You may notice there's some other things other than, cups. But masking tape to mask some of the parts, especially for paints. But you may notice there's some other things in here that don't really seem like painting. Technically they are. But this is just old classic filament for a resin printer. It is closed, so I don't have to worry about killing myself. Anyways. Camera's a little too far out. Yeah, too far in. Get it out a little more. But just like yesterday or last week, we're gonna be building. I'm gonna take some parts off of the suit just so that I can get to certain parts easier. Let me put that back on. But most of what we're doing today is going to be, I know I still have to do the head. The head will be done, and it shall be done. However, that is not going to be our first and primary objective. For, honestly, I can do other things with the head. But today, we're going to be using the panel lining markers, the files, etc., to start getting down into the nitty-gritty work of starting the paint. Because while the head, I don't really think I'm going to be painting just because it's the head, except for the V-fin. V-fin's probably about as much of the head I am personally planning on painting. But the rest of the body and mobile suit is going to be painted. So, first off, we gotta get the paint. I'm gonna be removing anything that can be removed from the main torso to make it easier on myself to either A, paint, or B, panel line. It would be easier just taking off the back. Nah, that should be fine. I mean, other than that. About midway through this, depending on where we're at in the panel line, I will be getting up to fill one of these solo cups up with water and getting out a couple paints and paint brushes that I will need to paint the mobile suit itself. Okay, but first up, we are only going to be using, for the most part, this gray marker. I don't have brown, so gray's the best bet. On all white and any light colors. So white and yellow will have gray panel markers. Red and blue will have the black panel marker. Normally, yellow and red would actually have brown panel markings. I don't have that. So, first up, let's get the smallest part out of the way. And, sorry, I forgot to refix the microphone so that I'm talking into it as I work. I'm going to pick up the GN drive because that's the end of what would be the GN drive propulsion system. And I'm just going to go over small indentations in the mech, in the model kit, that would almost indicate a separation of the armor or a layering of the armor. And then if I've applied too much, or to make sure I only apply enough, I'll take a Q-tip and I will essentially rub off any excess. This will also give it, if you use you can also use too much panel marker to give it almost a weathered, battered look. The end's kind of screwed on this one, so I probably should think about getting a new marker at some point, but it's doing what I need it to do, and I'm happy about that. Now note, I am not planning on painting on the inside of these pieces. Though, if you say, for some reason, if you have like a loose part, that's actually a good method of tightening that part up. So, I would recommend, I wouldn't recommend painting in there, but it could help in small, isolated cases of tightening. Just obviously don't use too much and wait for it to dry. Panel markings, panel lining a kit also tends to also bring out shadows a little more clearly to how it would also look in, say, the show. So it's also a good way to give it that more anime-esque mentality or look without going too overboard in painting. Now, granted, I am not going to be But anyways, other than that, we can talk about, since I didn't go over most of the stuff last time, I feel like it's time to talk about the Plutone in terms of the mobile suit itself and what it would turn into. So, and what I'm going to be using, especially when it comes to painting. I have a diagram now that I can look at to physically paint the kit. Now, if you're painting this yourself, there is another variant, which is this one, where essentially any spot that was essentially white is now black. This is the Black Plutone, GNY004B, and this is technically not an actual Plutone, but it counts. But, as you may know, and I did say this last time, Plutone would end up getting turned into the GN004 and GN005 Nodley and Virtue. It was the test drive system. However, a couple machines interfered in between. Specifically, another machine testing more so the GN composite armor functions, that would be Virtue, versus the other one, the Gundam Artemis, I don't remember the actual name. It's actually used quite a bit in, if you watch the Gundam Build Divers and Build Fighters series, and specifically if you watch Coalition of Volunteers during the first arc, during the Break Decal arc of the first season of Build Divers, you may recognize this machine. It has a B-like solar reactor at the end. And if it looks familiar, other than that, you'd be right. This machine would become the test machine for the trial system that would go into Nodley. However, this machine would actually not get abandoned by Celestial Being and be used in another machine, actually. And by used, I mean literally, I think they used the main body and just modified the main body a bit and added parts. For this machine, actually does turn into a different machine other than Nodley. And if you watch the normal, you don't even have to know the manga to know which one Artemis turns into. Excuse the amount of dust on it. I haven't cleaned it off in a bit. The GN Archer, which appears in the second season of 00. And you may notice this is a painted kit except for the one sticker. Around the one sticker. And, as I said, is just a repurposed Artemis Gundam in the body area with some altercations to make it, flyable. And with that, I think we're good on this piece. And I don't feel like doing this back here. You're not going to really see that because it gets covered up by the blue section there. Next up. We're going to have to do this anyway, so it hasn't changed anything. Another alternative to the Q-tip though for panel lining is a standard eraser. I kind of like the smudgingness of the Q-tip to an eraser. Make sure the eraser is clean and doesn't have like pencil dust. So that could also work to your in your favor. But if you're wondering which paint scheme I'm going with the original color of the Plutone, which is the color it is of the RX-782 strike, that sort of color: red, white, blue, yellow. That back one came out actually really good. And because this is a side skirt, I will actually do some of the interior design. So, like this small back piece right here, I'm going to do, because that is definitely going to be seen, potentially seen. So, that is something I would personally panel line. Where's my smaller? Must have misplaced it, but I have actually a smaller set of masking tape, and that ginormous one. You don't typically do. So, one thing to note. Oh, I have to bring this up. There's a mold line in the upper thigh of the Plutone. I will not be panel lining this, because that's actually more so the kit, the plastic model, versus the actual machine. Typically I don't really go to color the weapons. This one I probably will. Not like the weapons are that hard. Especially the one, since I'm literally waiting on painting it to put the nice green foil sticker on the front, so that's gonna be good. Now I'm gonna do this so that I can get to some other areas easier, specifically on the bottom leg. For the bottom leg is what I need to do the most stuff on. Because I'm actually gonna have to remove another piece too, actually, which is that piece, so that I can get into here for that one spot. That's it for the top half of the leg, actually. So let's do the part that I just took off next, because it's off. And obviously, if there's like a design element that's not here, obviously paint over it. Add that in, paint it. So like, there's not going to be any decals on these things. So, or say like the Virtue's case, because I built the 1/100 scale model version of that. It does not have like the etching in the near where the cockpit is that says Gundam. So that would be something creative to do if you would like. I am not skilled enough to do that currently. I have not enabled slow mode. I must have hit something when I was typing stuff. When I was starting the stream. Oops. Because I have a slow mode button on there, but that's just in case. I'm also starting early so that in case I want to go a little longer, I can. At this point, that's not going to work. So like this piece, I wouldn't be able to get to that with even taking that piece off. The beam saber holder area off. I would physically have to come in and take that upper leg completely off to just get to here. Probably gonna ruin this, but that might be the only issue, is that I might not paint where these areas are because the cable will get in the way. But that's not typically something I care for. Thankfully, this will at least tell me which leg each piece goes to. And technically both legs are, for the most part, interchangeable. Okay, so since we're done with that much of the leg, we will start doing black, because there are gray parts, specifically on the upper leg, that need to be done. Sorry if I hit the mic. This back area of the thing tends to have some of the best panel lining areas, because it has this like one long thing from where the things are sandwiched. And I tend to panel line that because that makes sense. The inner portion would probably be an area where cables and wires are on if it were real. So making that portion somewhat defined with that, it is a good touch to do. And it tends to be seen because there's knee armor. Most of this is also due to the fact that I really, really, really don't want to use like 2 to 3 stickers in the entire kit. And that's a bunch of red spots on the head area. Specifically the V-fin. So, is that over there? Bless me. Let's see. No, it doesn't look like it. Maybe I put it away. No. I have the other one though, so that will be fine. And grab another one of these out. That should probably be in the trash, not in here. Alright. What you see is a pair of tweezers. What I'm planning on doing later is just dunk the V-fin into a thing of white paint and essentially let it dry off. Something I like to do with the shoes is just not care how much of the panel marker I'm using, because it's a shoe, it's gonna get dirty anyways. More authentic. So with that, and it's why I would say if you got a brown marker, definitely do it on the red of the feet, because that will look great. Now, will the paint... A question I probably could see is, will the paint, especially if I paint like red over the black panel marker, will that cancel out the panel marker? Well, here is the gun archer. The wings are painted, and as you may notice, god dang it, one of the hands fell off. Backs of the hands fell off. But you may notice where it's painted, especially on the red, you can definitely still see the panel marks. So, yeah, I would say definitely it will still show, giving a much needed layer of depth without mixing paint. Or, going over it with multiple paints. This is probably the last things on this leg. I'll switch to the next one. 30 minutes in, and we've already finished. No, I'll just get the blue done. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and just swiftly going. I'll put anything I've already panel marked over here, just so I have an easier time knowing where I put them. Okay, next up, Another part I may not try and paint, just for fear of messing up the clear part. The awesome translucent green clear part. Because remember, I showed you Gun Archer, which would have been this machine's era's Gunpla. It only has the green foil sticker, not the glass. So I'd say wait on that. Especially an 08 era kit. Does not have a lot of clear plastics, so I would say hold off on using plastic. Try not getting anything on like the clear piece. Actually, I'll start masking stuff I want masked beforehand. I'm actually gonna mask that piece of plastic. Shouldn't need too much. But obviously I'm going to not paint close enough to that where it can bleed through. Because this is just basic paint masking tape. It's not meant for painting. Next, blue area, the wings. For the core fighter, I say core fighter, it doesn't have any weapons. It doesn't even have a machine gun. Or, for other ones, it's technically the same as the heads, it's Vulcans, but, it's technically a machine gun. Yeah, one more thing right here. Just do that. And okay. And you can just barely see it in this after moving the lamp. But you can definitely see some of the panel lines that are there, making that really pop out. Oh, there's like 2 on the top, 3 on the top. Good segue into the next side. Ugh. Yeah, it's a couple scuffs from when I probably cut it out. Ah, I did miss one right there. gorgeous. How it's, how the lines are done. Yeah, my gray is kind of dying. Black seems okay. Gray, not so much. Because the black I can stay in the lines, that is definitely not in the lines. But it still ended up painting really well. Coming out really well. All those panels are now especially more outlined, and because it created a contrast in the lighting, making it easier to see what panels there are. So if anything, if you wanted your kit to also catch the light better after being built, yeah, definitely panel line. It is completely worth it. Panel lines tends to be as far as I'll go, especially for these smaller kits. But this is a more slightly pricey smaller kit, so I'm going to be going a little more in depth with what I do. So that's the reason why I'm planning on painting. Yeah, that definitely looks way, way better. Except that top piece right there. Yeah. But man, it's been a while. Actually, before I started doing this specific kit, it had been a couple months since I last did my last built kit. My last kit was actually the Earthfree Gun. Was Earthfree Gundam, and it's mini Core Gundam. So, and by like a couple months, I mean like couple months. Think that was like April, May, maybe a year even. Because I think I got that kit the same time I got the X-Wing that was I was going to build for my father last year. It's not built still. I still plan on doing that live. He does know I got it for him, and eventually it'll be built. What I need to do is start making sure I have 2 different Q-tips. One for black, one for gray. That way I'm not messing up my gray Q-tip, color Q-tip on the black panel marker. Now, things that can screw with the Q-tip, definitely, like unsanded parts. Definitely cause issues with that. Speaking of something, actually, that part, so small things like that piece are definitely not going to get painted. Let's say so like this piece, I'm going to the shield and the gunner next, and for the shield I'm actually going to take it completely apart. And why is this? It's because of the fact that this shield is actually almost fully color separated. It is actually fully color separated. That I want to. Well, yes, this is going to be. Actually, I don't even think there's anything on the red piece 2 panel line. Interesting. But the black is definitely a panel line worthy thing. The gray is definitely panel line worthy. And so is the white, so those will get done up nice. And then everything will get painted and look way better than, the stock color. Stock paint job, because then anything that was of the initial paint that was damaged from getting cut off being attached to the runner will then be, painted. Especially since this is only, 2 sheets color. Now, granted, this won't save it from, say, these colors from, like, say, a pure black. But, let's work on a lot of the other colors, thankfully. So, yeah, like here, I can't drag it across or else I'm gonna ruin the Q-tip even faster. Thankfully, there's not a lot on the bottom. So, like this, if I felt like setting up the airbrush and putting paint in one of the things, I could do that and just spray paint this entirety one color. Because it, from what it looks like, stays this one color. That's dead. There's the beam rifle down. That's pretty much it on the front end. Especially about carry sprue. I don't even go. Like, should I even bother cleaning it off? And I'm like, yeah, I probably should. I mean, yeah, like, if it's obviously carrying off, yes, it's gonna interrupt with some of the paints, especially yellow. But, say, like back here, nah, it's not gonna do much. This is all gonna be black anyway, gray anyways. If I have gray. Might not get painted because I might not have any paint. That's another thing. I don't know what my paint's like currently. And if it's any good. So unfortunately, I don't get the time for going all out on kits. Wish I did, but I honestly don't. This definitely has as much detail as you'd think it would from older double O kits, because double O kits tend to always have a lot of detail on the backsides of their shields. Last time I checked. Okay, so I'm actually gonna get up and get some water because now I'm gonna start painting some of the things I have done, specifically the weapons, so that they will end up being dry by the time I get back in here. So I'll be right back. There's nothing to listen to, unfortunately. So I'll be right back, though. Okay, so we got water. Here's the brushes. You may have noticed I have a thing of paper towels. Okay. These are somewhat of the things I want. Not really the black. I don't think I have full, white gloss, rather white, flat, rather white. Don't really need that one. That one's not really a color I'd use. Okay. Well then. Oh. Gotcha. Since I'm not going into black just yet, bless me. That, but here we go. Or and let's oh, there's a couple other spots that would actually be good. I'll put a second dose of water and dry it off before, and it's a small like panelish area right there. Okay, so how I tend to do this. One, open up the thing of paint. Two, We apply water and turn that around. 3. I'm going to sit one of the tabs of the piece on painting on the tweezer. And I'm just gonna paint. That does not look good whatsoever. I had a mishap with one of my whites. It didn't come out what I wanted, and it didn't mix as I wanted to make sure it would work, and there's a case of a mess that happened. I'll put that over because yeah, that doesn't look good. I might have to see about one of my other whites. Oh, come on. Hmm. Yes, you may have just sold like 6 things. You can't make bread. Do have another red. Here's blue, and that one's open. Here's a different white, and that looks fine comparatively to whatever crap gunk is in that. Oh, that's the gloss that I put on the H2. Actually, that would be it. And here's the red red. I'll be right So, there has been a small change in plans. Doing anything that's red tonight. And why specifically red? Well, the red that I just had that wasn't opening, I tried to open and the actual outer piece cracked. So, we're doing this all tonight. Okay, moving everything back so I can paint. Red tends to be one of my easier colors. And most likely, I will not be able to shut this without it drying completely, meaning it's probably dead. So, I will not be having this red anymore. So, let's hurry up with the paint. So after this is done, I'm actually going to just straight up pop off both feet and get those done. And get the V-fin out of my way too. As if it tonight couldn't get any worse. One of the siding pieces of this foot just came off. That didn't give any sign that it was going to snap, unfortunately. That sucks. This way I'm not getting all the pigment in. Yeah, I'm gonna need a full new set. Paint, that's fine. See how well that drying may put that back together. But, we need A23. A23. A31. And A36. A23 is the proverbial V-fin. Classic V-fin. Well, 36 is actually to a piece for the chest, the waste unit that I did not cut out earlier last week. And the same goes A31. Actually, while that's drying, I can build the face. If you know anything about Gunpla, A20, this portion of A may look familiar. For this, A whatever was, A20, A32 specifically, is the headpiece. I'm missing the last and final piece. A20 classic face mask. Because what's a Gundam without its face mask? Don't answer that because I've seen the horrors that is SD Gundam. That is a horror I wish to, for the most part, never relive. The head will, for the most part, only be panel lined. I am not planning on painting most of it except for the beefin. And a couple red parts because I have no red. Cutting up the wrong one. Say 21. 22 will go on. Okay. Yep. 22 goes into this piece now. Okay, so colors we need. The standard gloss white. I'm not even going to panel line this piece before painting. Okay. Now, you may notice on the V-fin there are two like hexagon squares. Those are for two red stickers that are on the sticker sheet. I'm not even gonna do much. I'm just gonna paint that. I'm just gonna dab a small amount of red paint on that spot and wait for it to dry. Now I'll finish any other red spots on the head. Specifically this one. This will go on after the V-fin, but before the head camera piece. And then finally, the middle red piece for the waist unit. Now, you may notice that is now sitting there nicely. So, I am going to gently apply paint for where it sticks. Why not do the back of the foot just so that I can stop touching that foot? I might not even paint the white parts at this point for the feet because, ooh, that was not a pretty sight. It's unfortunate that that's also the best grip area. Okay, can't really close that. Lost the entirety of the neck of the bottle. Now, we'll be using whatever I have left of the flat gray. Nah, this ain't. This isn't good. No, that's just water. Unfortunately, I don't have any more gray. It is unfortunately the only color I do not have a lot of. That's flat black. Let's see. Do I have the other color? Sea blue. Gonna make for interesting customs. That works. It's not the color I want, but it'll work for what I want. It'll make do for what I have. It's supposed to be a like dark tan, but it's gray on the top, so I'm gonna take advantage of the extra color. That's why I'm not going too deep into this one, is because it is tan. That's not really the color I need. I need gray, not tan. And this is the closest to tan I'm gonna get. A little too deep. More a finish color than a actual paint, so looks alright. More so looks like I just painted. I did nothing to it. And actually this actually really does look good though. Brings out the original plastic actually really well. Till that I go a little too deep and I get this weird whatever color this is. Also seems to have like some small amounts of silver here, which actually looks really good. Speaking of silver, now I should actually use some. If I can actually use it. Unfortunately, that's probably the best I can do with the color I have, but looks good. Really looks good. Okay, so there's one last part. The final part on the runner. The last piece of the head camera. Well, am I touching these parts so soon after? They're actually dry because it's not that much, You'd think there'd be more paint there, but there's actually not a lot of paint on that piece. It actually looks really good. Now that that's done though, here's a piece over here that I need to put back in before I lose it. And it's this piece. What piece is it? Specifically? It's the neck piece that came out when I was using the head of the, for the week that I didn't have it, I decided to use this head, I decided to use the Core Gundam's head. It looks weird because it's not as bulky as, Plutone's, so it made it actually look kind of funny. A little weird, but kind of funny. Okay. Thankfully, that is the last of red parts. Unfortunately, most of it is gray and white. Gray, white, blue, and yellow. Probably not touch the yellow parts, unfortunately. Because, with my yellow, actually, I have very little yellow. So, like, all there at the bottom. But, let's get started with, first, doing the basic stuff. I left everything open. That's never a good thing. stuff. Their events and stuff are a love thing of mine. Because it just goes to show how much it gets used. Though this machine technically didn't get a lot of use, but also did, so. And fundamentally, it's not the correct type of exhaust, but you know, gotta make do with what you get. Okay, that's done. Put away the gray for now. Nope. Nope, we're not even gonna try. As soon as I felt the feedback, I'm like, nope, not even gonna try today. Honestly, the yellow doesn't really need it because most of the yellow spots parts are actually so embedded you don't really see their nubs marks a lot. So I ain't gonna bother. Fortunately, this white's kind of dying too. It's very spongy. It's kind of almost like it's dried out. And as if it's dried out. Not a good thing, but it's not horrible. I can deal with it. But it's looking nice. In the early spots where I had too much paint. Almost done with the main portion of the body. The main leg areas. This is it's turning out okay. Don't think I need any more actually. That piece, so this piece. Oh, I forgot one. One of these was not done. Oops. Because of how it acts, it's actually really easy to just hold on to these pieces. Because the paint's kind of dried. But that shouldn't be necessarily a good, that's not really a really good thing, but it's just a convenience. Brush is dried out. I can tell the brush was dried out there. Honestly, from this part's coloring or shape, you could honestly pretend this was a leg piece, and I'd believe you. You could tell me this was a leg piece and a foot piece, and I'd believe you. Now that I can hold on to the back ends. Speaking of which, how about that's done? This is one I probably... This is a paint scheme that definitely needs sanding. That's done. Oh. There you go. Fortunately, that shield is gone. Where that stickiness is, it's gone because I definitely have a smooth white that I'm currently putting down. Actually, I screwed up with painting. So, let's see. Somewhat good. Hey Nick, how are you? Doing alright. As you said, yep, Gundam parts. Okay. Let's close this up because I can take a break for a bit from painting. Except for poor Red. Poor Red's going in the trash. Yeah, you get back to work. You shouldn't be watching then. Okay, this is the right piece. And then it doesn't matter. And yeah, that actually looks really nice. Except for the slightly grained texture because of the dyeing paint, but you know. Wait. And let's add this on to the front. And nope. Okay, guess we're looking at red again. That's not a good sign. But anyways, let's see if that fixes it. But red's done. If that's how fast acrylic dries, yeah, red is dead then. Okay. We're just gonna quickly get all this done because can't really do yellow. Yellow's stuck. Shut. Honestly, I'll do the arms another time, but I want to truly just want to get the torso and the waist done, honestly, at this point. Okay, meaning gray. Done that. Denser part back here. Okay. I'll start blue, then head into the white, because if I do something in white, it shouldn't overtake the blue. Actually, there we go. That's the rest of that. Done for the parts. The gray panel lining, at least, should be done by now. Now for the black, and then we start painting blue. The machine blue. Surprisingly, this machine is for the most part color accurate. Honestly, there's not as much blue paneling on the blue parts here as there are on, say, like the bottom. Since that's mostly all white. Or, like the wings. The wings are still probably the most panel line heavy in design. Okay. Let's finish wiping out the white and red. I'm gonna actually dot the top of the blue. Heck, even blue, you can see panel lines pretty blue. Such a great color. Thing to do. Yeah, I dipped in a little too far. I want too much, but I think I got too much. Here, yeah. Almost done though. Will I be doing this to the core fighter? No. Man. It's a little darker than I'd like. I think I know why. Hang on. Yeah. Okay, what I just did nearly dyed my hand blue, but should keep that like running issue down. Okay. Actually, there's still a little more blue left. So I don't know why I put it away. I forgot this piece. Blue and black tend to be like this when it comes to color. Thankfully, I wasn't using too much, so it didn't get horrible again. That's like do the waist and arms. Mainly the waist, because I don't think I'm doing the arms to do it. I'll probably come back to the arms at some point. We'll do those off screen. Because, oh yes, important, not necessary for today's part. Session. Oh, it's slightly dyed blue. That's fine. That's fine. In some areas, that's fine. Because I didn't have all the blue unmixed, cleaned off the brush. Okay, there's the waist done. And we're at the final part. And that is done. Painting is done. And parts can start going back to where they went if they're done drying. And most of the lake portions are done, so that means them. Make sure the rubber isn't, bent. And then finally, head. If these return to their original positions at the on the back. Oh, shoot. Fortunately, the cockpit didn't, of the core fighter's cockpit didn't paint as well as I wanted it to. It's fine though. Oh. And with the rifle in its hand. Oh. Getting something. In fact, something very, very important. And the beam saber handles back in their rightful spots. I put this into. And with that, Plutone is done. I'll swing this back over. Not set up for the right ground type. I'll take a picture and send it. In 2 seconds. But it's been a fun 2 sessions. I wasn't expecting to finish it in 2 sessions, but finished it in 2 sessions. Fastest way to get a picture to yourself. Use this, making it, you only Discord chat. And I can then, yes, change the properties, browse that folder for the true thing, bring up close pick. God. Apparently the thumbnail is way too big. There we go. And there is the final product of the stream. Looked really good. Looks okay. There's a couple hand spots and whatnot. But that is it for the build. My build of the premium Bandai high grade of the Plutone. I do not have another kit scheduled for next week currently, but I'll get back to you guys during one of the streams this week. If that plan changes, tomorrow is AI the Somnium Files. That will be a first look, see how that game performs. And then most likely Thursday rather than Wednesday, we will start and going after Naboris in Breath of the Wild. So that is it. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow, or if you're watching this on YouTube when this goes up Sunday, AI Somnium Files comes out sometime after Sonic Colors ends. So, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and take care.